Hercules begins his 11th of what was supposed to be 10 trials, due to Eurystheus not counting the stables or the Hydra. It's up for discussion. Hercules was tasked to retrieve the apples of Hesperides, which reminds us a little bit of the Garden of Eden. This garden was gifted by Gaia to Hera in honor of the marriage of Zeus and Hera. The garden was inhabited by a dragon who in some stories is just another monster to be slain, and more interesting, the Hesperides, nymphs who for our story are the daughters of Atlas, who we will see soon. Hercules traveled the world in search of this garden. From West Africa to West Asia, he ran into characters that he had to defeat. One was the sea god Nereus, coined by Homer as the Old Man of the Sea. His abilities were, as a sea god, a shapeshifter, and he also had the gift of prophecy. So Hercules attacked him and never let go of all his various forms until he was told where the garden was. For his next duel, he ran into Antaeus, a son of Poseidon who had the power of never losing strength when he was close to his mother, who was Gaia. Hercules was able to figure that trick out pretty quick and lifted him up and crushed him in the air. Lots of fights here. So the last one is with another son of Poseidon, Busiris, who was able to somehow capture Hercules and even get him on an altar of sacrifice. But of course our hero broke the change and escaped, killing Busiris on the way. With all his earned information, Hercules was led to Mount Caucasus, where he met with Prometheus, who we talked about in my first video. Well, the torturous circumstance that Prometheus was in ended when Hercules killed the relentless eagle that had apparently been at his task for 30 years. So Prometheus, in debt to Hercules, told him a trick to getting the apples. The trick was he would need Atlas to go into the garden, as only Atlas knew where the apples were, and just as importantly, how to sneak past his own daughters. The only problem was Atlas was busy holding up the heavens, sky, and not, as we understand, the earth. Well, Hercules made a deal that if Atlas could get the apples, Hercules would hold up the heavens in his stead. Atlas thought it a bargain and snuck into the garden past his daughters, retrieved the apples, and brought them back. Atlas suggested that he take the apples to Eurystheus, and Hercules said, "All right, but can I first put some padding on my shoulders to make this job of holding up the heavens easier?" Atlas said, "All right," and took up the mantle as the heaven bearer again. At this moment, Hercules grabbed the apples and ran, leaving poor Atlas to his post for eternity, once again. He ran all the way back to Eurystheus, who was clearly impressed, but the problem was none of the gods would accept the apples being with men, so Athena came down and respectfully took the apples back to the garden, and Hercules' 11th trial was complete.